Every year, thousands of professional footballers make their senior debuts. For some, they may only make a handful of appearances before being cast onto the scrap heap. Others will manage to forge long-term careers in the sport, whilst just a select handful, a fraction of 1%, will go on to reach true stardom. It is the last of those three categories that we are interested in today, as I'm taking on subscriber Owen's suggestion from Twitter of attempting to pick out the best player to have made their senior debuts every year. Those of you who've been subscribed to this channel for any amount of time will know that I would have loved to have looked at every year since about 1880, but that would take me over a week to make. Instead, today I'm just going to be looking at the last 20 years, and should this video be a roaring success, it's possible that I could take a look at the years from 1980 to 1999, 1960 to 1979, and so on and so forth. Just to be absolutely clear, I'm looking at the best player to have made their professional first team debuts in any competitive fixture each year, including loan moves, but not including appearances for second teams such as Real Madrid Castilla or Benfica B. The inclusions are who I think was the best player to make their debuts that year, but since you are not me, there will be areas in which you disagree, and that's all part of the fun. To keep things interesting, I'll try to include some honourable mentions to boot. Here are my views on the best footballers to have made their debuts every year since 2000. 2000. Arjen Robben. We are off to a great start in this list with one of the finest wingers of a generation. Arjen Robben was a very young man when he made his first team debut for Groningen, aged 16, in December of the year 2000. Robben quickly developed a big name for himself, becoming a Dutch international in 2003 and enjoying stints with PSV, Chelsea and Real Madrid. He really settled at Bayern Munich in 2009 though, going on to spend a decade in Bavaria and developing particular renown for his almost unstoppable ability to cut inside from the right flank and find the back of the net with his favoured left foot. Aged 36, Robben came out of retirement in the summer to rejoin Groningen, hoping to help the club recover from the struggles of COVID-19. An honourable mention here must go to Nemanja Vidic. 2001. KAKA. The only retired player in this entire video, KAKA sees off competition from Dani Alves, Giorgio Chiellini, David Villa, Fernando Torres and Carlos Tevez among many others as my choice as the finest debutant of the year 2001. KAKA made his debut for Sao Paulo, where he spent 2.5 seasons before signing for AC Milan. Whilst KAKA was an early bloomer, I think the speed of his decline is sometimes a little overblown. He spent 14 years as a full Brazilian international, winning 92 caps. Nonetheless, his peak was no doubt between 2003 and 2010, comprising primarily of his first stint with AC Milan, where KAKA was for at least a brief period the best player on earth, a status that was reflected in his 2007 Ballon d'Or win. 2002. Cristiano Ronaldo. There were actually a handful of truly sensational footballers who made their debuts in 2002, including Wayne Rooney, Andres Iniesta and Philipp Lahm, but they all fall victim to having made their debuts in the same year as Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo was just 17 years of age when he took the step up from the much esteemed Sporting Academy to make his debut for the Portuguese Giants. Within 10 months, Ronaldo had signed for Manchester United, where he would become one of the best players on earth and win his first Ballon d'Or. Ronaldo joined Real Madrid in 2009, where he cemented his place as an all-time great over the next 9 years, and he is still a force of nature in Serie A and for the Portuguese national team now, aged 35. 2003. Sergio Aguero. The youngest Argentine Primera Division debutant of all time, Sergio Aguero, made his debut for Independiente when he was just 15 years and 35 days old, breaking a record that had been set by Diego Maradona back in 1976. Whilst Aguero may not quite have eclipsed Maradona's achievements in the game, he has had one hell of a career. Following his breakthrough in Argentina, Aguero signed for Atletico Madrid, where he became one of Europe's outstanding young players. In 2011, he signed for Manchester City, where he is now the club's all-time leading goalscorer. Honourable mentions here go to Luka Modric, Wesley Sneijder and Cesc Fabregas. 2004. Lionel Messi. As with 2002, commiserations go to David Silva, Sergio Ramos and others, but anyone to deputise in the same year as Lionel Messi never stood a chance. In fact, I'm just glad Messi and Ronaldo made their debuts in different years, otherwise the comment section would descend into the usual Messi versus Ronaldo tedium. Lionel Messi made his first team debut against Espanyol in October 2004, aged 17, and La Liga defenders haven't been able to get a good night's sleep ever since. Messi has gone on to become both the most prolific and the most creative player of a generation, and quite possibly the greatest footballer of all time. 2005. Luis Suarez. I hate how often I seem to have to pick between Robert Lewandowski and Luis Suarez on this channel, and you can throw Karim Benzema into the mix when it comes to this video as well. They are three of the finest centre forwards of a generation, particularly Suarez and Lewandowski, and if you were to pick them based on the here and now, then the Bayern man would sweep up. There's very little to split them across their entire careers, but I think Suarez at his very best was even better than Lewandowski, whose peak has probably been over the last 18 months. In his last season at Liverpool and in his second season at Barcelona, Suarez was quite simply unstoppable, and even at 33, the Uruguayan has made a great start to life with Atletico. He made his senior debut back in 2005, aged 18, for Nacional, and he has since scored almost 500 goals for both club and country. 2006. Manuel Neuer. The trickiest decision thus far perhaps, it's always difficult comparing outfield players with goalkeepers. Gareth Bale and James Rodriguez both made their debuts in 2006, along with a vast array of other talent, but I've overlooked them all in favour of Manuel Neuer. Neuer made his debut for Schalke in 2006 and quickly established himself as a force to be reckoned with between the sticks. He joined Bayern Munich in 2011, and over the next few years, he had the greatest impact on the position of any goalkeeper during the 21st century. The model sweeper-keeper, Neuer is one of the most important players and one of the best goalkeepers of my lifetime at least, so I think he's a worthy inclusion. 2007. Eden Hazard. It's largely a battle between two current Real Madrid players for the title of best 2007 debutant, but Eden Hazard edges out Toni Kroos in my humble opinion. Not in terms of contribution to Real Madrid or trophies won of course, but in terms of talent, I still think that Hazard is the better player. His debut came at Lille 13 years ago, and Hazard would become a legend for the Ligue 1 club. In 2012, he signed for Chelsea, and by the time he left Stamford Bridge, he'd become one of the Blues' greatest players of all time as well. You can't quite say the same about Hazard's time at Real Madrid, but it is still early days, and only a fool would write him off completely at the age of 29. 2008. Sergio Busquets. It was hard leaving out Thomas Muller, who has had a magnificent career, meanwhile Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is owed a very honourable mention as well. My choice, however, for 2008 is Sergio Busquets. Plucked out of Barca B by Pep Guardiola in 2008, Busquets immediately became a pivotal player for the best team on the planet. A genius in terms of reading the game and in the efficiency of his play in transition, Busquets is the finest pivot of the modern era and one of the most intelligent footballers I have ever seen. It would be dishonest to say that he hasn't suffered a drop-off over the last couple of years, but he is someone who flourishes with good players around him, and the Barcelona team has undoubtedly declined in recent years. 2009. Neymar. Anyone who subscribes to this channel will know that I have been Kevin De Bruyne's biggest fan for a very long time, so it hurts to leave him out of this video, and honourable mentions are also owed to Jan Oblak and Antoine Griezmann. Ultimately though, I think Neymar is the third most talented player of his generation, trailing only Messi and Ronaldo. One could even make the case for Neymar having more God-given talent than Ronaldo, but he certainly hasn't had anywhere near as impressive a career. With that being said, Neymar, who made his debut for Santos in 2009, aged 17, has been absolutely superb for every club he has ever been at. It's a shame in many respects that we didn't get to see him at Barcelona for longer, but some of his football for PSG has been simply remarkable. He will overtake Pelé as Brazil's all-time record goalscorer at some stage, and anyone who tells you that he's overrated doesn't watch him play. 2010. Mohamed Salah. I think Son Heung-min genuinely pushes Mohamed Salah very close in terms of the class of 2010, but the Egyptian still edges it for me. Salah's debut in the Egyptian Premier League came whilst he was still only 17, and it wasn't long before he attracted the attention of Swiss outfit Basel. Following an underwhelming spell at Chelsea, Salah reinvented himself with Roma before enjoying a blistering debut campaign with Liverpool. Salah's record of 104 goals in 165 games for the Reds is perhaps not always fully appreciated, although I would suggest Son is even more routinely overlooked. Two incredible players, but I'm giving it to Salah. 2011, Harry Kane. No doubt this one will cause a stir among some people, but my choice for 2011 is Harry Kane, ahead of Paulo Dybala and Virgil van Dijk. There will be those who say that Van Dijk is better than Kane, and I can understand where they're coming from. I just don't agree. Harry Kane is probably the second best out-and-out centre-forward in world football right now, and that's despite a string of injury problems in recent years. In the 2017-18 season, Kane bagged 41 goals, and I think he was probably on track for English football's first 50-plus goal season since, I don't know who, maybe Dixie Dean, had he stayed injury-free. Nonetheless, he's still an incredibly prolific goalscorer, and now creator, and close to being the ultimate centre-forward. His debut actually came on loan at Leyton Orient in 2011, and Kane famously failed to impress during most of his loan spells, before capitalising on an injury crisis at White Hart Lane to prove his class. 2012, Sadio Mane. Three of the finest wingers in world football right now all made their debuts in 2012, namely Sadio Mane, Raheem Sterling and Serge Gnabry, as well as Manchester United midfielder Bruno Fernandes. You could stake claims for all three, if not four, but if I were picking one, I'd probably lean towards Sadio Mane, albeit after much deliberation, so he gets the nod. Mane's senior debut came right at the start of 2012, whilst he was playing for Metz, and the club was actually relegated into France's third tier that season. Mane subsequently signed for Red Bull Salzburg and then Southampton before becoming one of Jurgen Klopp's most inspired signings at Anfield. 2013. Joshua Kimmich. Honourable mentions go to Fabinho, Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish, but Bayern Munich star Joshua Kimmich was always my favourite for 2013. Another former Red Bull man, Kimmich made his debut for RB Leipzig in 2013, where he spent 2 seasons before signing for Bayern. Even in his early 20s, I felt that Kimmich became the best right back on earth for a brief period of time in Bavaria, before being moved into midfield. Always very versatile, I had my doubts about Kimmich's position switch whilst he was still so young, but it has proved to be a masterstroke. He is now one of, if not the most talented holding players in world football, and he's still only 25. 2014. Leroy Sane. The calendar year with the least competition, at least from my research, there is still an outstanding player who made their debut in 2014. Staying in Bavaria, Bayern Munich star Leroy Sane is not the first player in this video who made their debut for Schalke. Sane shot straight into the German national team during only his second Bundesliga season and was quickly snapped up by Manchester City. Following a truly tremendous 2018-19 campaign at the Etihad, Sane missed a season through injury, and with the club unable to agree a new deal, he was sold to Bayern Munich. Sane has almost every attribute you could wish for in a wide player, so he's my choice for 2014. 2015. Kylian Mbappe. As we come to increasingly younger players, I can't quite believe that it has been 5 years since Kylian Mbappe made his debut, and I, like many of you I suspect, am now feeling rather old. Mbappe's debut came in December 2015, which saw him break Thierry Henry's record as Monaco's youngest debutant, but it would be his second season that really made people sit up and take note. The 18-year-old scored 26 goals in 44 games, prompting an enormous move to Paris Saint-Germain, where he has since become one of the most prolific marksmen on the planet. Mbappe is frighteningly quick, he loves to commit players, and somehow he still seems to be getting better. He was a shoo-in, despite competition, from the likes of Gianluigi Donnarumma, Frenkie de Jong and Federico Valverde. 2016. Erling Haaland. Quite possibly the toughest selection yet, a number of the world's best young players made their debuts in 2016. Erling Haaland is joined by the esteemed company of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Marcus Rashford, Kai Havertz and Alphonso Davies. I adore every one of them as players, and they all have mammoth futures ahead of them, but I could only pick one. Haaland's record for a man, or boy I should say, of his age is just laughable, and there's something exhilarating about watching a supremely talented young centre-forward playing without a fear in the world. Haaland made his senior debut in Norway at the age of only 15, having already earned a big reputation in Norway's junior teams. Last season, he scored 44 goals in just 40 games for Red Bull Salzburg and Borussia Dortmund, and he's already backed that up with 11 and 11 so far this term. 2017, Jadon Sancho. Staying at Borussia Dortmund for the class of 2017, Jadon Sancho sees off the competition of Phil Foden, Sandro Tonali and Vinicius Jr. as far as I'm concerned. Sancho is actually a couple of months older than Haaland, but he didn't make his first team debut until he was 17, making him practically a veteran in comparison to Haaland. One that got away as far as Man City were concerned. They knew exactly what they were losing, but simply couldn't offer Sancho the game time that he wanted. The 20-year-old took the plunge and moved abroad, and he's now reaping the rewards. Sancho is one of the best dribblers and most productive wingers in world football, and he couldn't be at a much better club in terms of his development. 2018, João Felix. A quick shout out must go to Arsenal duo Bakary Sakho and William Saliba, but the obvious choice for 2018 is João Felix. Felix had long been highly regarded at Benfica, but few people expected him to produce such a stunning debut campaign. Following his first appearance in 2018, Felix went on to bag 20 goals in just 43 games in the 2018-19 campaign. It would prove to be his only season with the club, as Atletico Madrid struck to make Felix the fourth most expensive footballer of all time. A magnificent technician with bags of invention to his game, Felix had a stunted debut campaign in Madrid, but he's made a tremendous start this season. 2019, Eduardo Camavinga. It was a horrible decision with regards to 2019, since I absolutely love the three front runners and have so much excitement to see how they all develop. Eduardo Camavinga, Mason Greenwood and Ansu Fati all have the talent to become generational talents, so it wasn't an easy decision. I've gone for Camavinga though, because whilst most players who break through at 17 are forward players, he is a seriously rare breed in terms of the attributes that he has for someone of his age. Camavinga became Rennes' youngest player of all time at 16 as a defence midfielder, and immediately became a key man. Exhibiting a footballing IQ well beyond his tender years, Camavinga quickly attracted the attention of Europe's elite. This season, we've seen Camavinga move a little bit forward into more of a box-to-box role, and it's beginning to look as though there is nothing the young lad can't do. Having only turned 18 a week ago, Camavinga is already a full international for France. He has the absolute lot, and if they lose him for less than £100 million, which I suspect they will, they have been absolutely robbed. 2020, Giovanni Reyna. Whilst there are lots of enormously exciting young prospects who have made their first team debuts in 2020, it is incredibly early to try and pick out who is the best of the bunch. It's an interesting question though, hence why I put it to those of you who follow me on Twitter, and I might as well drop a quick shout out to say that you can follow me on either Instagram or Twitter via the username at HITC Sevens should you wish to get involved in similar discussions in the future. With that being the case, I've gone for the obvious shout, which is Giovanni Reyna. The third current Dortmund man in this video, Reyna made his debut in January 2020, but he has already registered 28 appearances for the Bundesliga title challenges and become a full US international. If supporters of the USMNT want to get really excited, MLS marksman Daryl Dike is no doubt worthy of an honourable mention for this one, given the way in which his career has begun at Orlando City, along with some of your other suggestions, which included Patrick Napola, Gabriel Sara, Liam Delap and Florian Wirtz. So that's it for today's video, but thank you all as ever for watching. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and do make sure to subscribe to HITC Sevens, and you can also turn on notifications, which just means clicking that little bell thing, and that way you'll never miss a video.